Boosie and them and all them people didn't turn around and talk to the valet, to the parking security, and tell him that Duke is with them. Because they had enough time. They had enough parking spots. Boosie could have told the people to let Duke in, and that Duke was part of the entourage, and he would have been able to stay in the VIP, which would have made a whole different outcome. Duke would still be here to tell his side of everything and his experience. But at the end of the day, you really can't trust nobody, because if you really look at it, whether it was a setup, whether it was the back door, is that there were too many changes, of course, too many changes to the plan, too many changes to like how they were going to move. They really never sat there and stuck to the plan of what they told Duke, how it was all going to go down, about them going from the dice game to the concert. And it was too many people at the dice game who were really wolves that were in sheep clothes, and was really just like stalking, preying on Duke and trying to see if he was going to flash the money, trying to see if he was going to pull any of the chains out. But once they identified that everything was in the Louis Vuitton bag, that's when they waited for their right moment. They kept an eye on his Instagram page, because when you look at the Instagram page, his stories from that whole night, he was going into the elevator, going up in the elevator. And when you see he put the phone down towards the ground, you see the Louis Vuitton bags, not just one of them, but it was two of them. So multiple Louis Vuitton bags with the jewelry in it, with the $600,000 cash in it. If you was to add it all up, it would be about $1 million that he's just carrying in the bag, but while still wearing another 400, 500K around his head and shoulders and everything like that. But even if all the jewelry and all the money and all that, it still doesn't equate to the fact that Duke is gone. And so that's why a lot of people, they value Duke more than they value the jewelry, more than they value the money. And so really, if you look at it, it's a big dog in the community gone. And you got to understand that there's a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different type of things that could have had Duke be targeted. You got to understand, he deals with so many people. You don't know if this has been in the talks for a long time. You really don't know who is the ones to have all the action start. But at the end of the day, it all ended after the Boosie concert, man. And Plies was there. Plies would tell you that he tried to stay out the way. It's like, how come Plies didn't have a parking issue? Where did Plies park? How come he got in so smooth, but Duke didn't get in as easy? And so at the end of the day, if you look at it, it was like they were trying to separate the rappers crew and everybody else that was getting money the other way. And so when you look at it, if you wasn't in that rap entourage, that rap crew entourage, you could have been targeted. The wolves could have been like, hey, we see this person, we see that person. They're not really with the Boosie team. So it's fair game it's open season, basically. And so that's why a lot of people have to watch out. A lot of the people who are the big dogs, it's a lot of wolves out. You got to understand, it's a whole world of haters and wolves and just people who preying on the downfall. And so what you got to understand is that you have to basically move a certain way and make it to where they stay in their lane and you stay in your lane. You stay in a lane where they can't come to access that lane. They're far from that lane. So that's it. You take the higher road and everything like that. So when you really break down the situation and look at it, a lot of people are saying that Duke might have been set up. It could have been backdoored. It all points to the people that's around him at the time when everything went down. It is no coincidence. So where the parking spot that Boosie parked at, it was at least 10 open parking spots left in the VIP, and there was enough room for Duke the jeweler. If he wanted to park there, he should have definitely been able to park there. But due to the conversation between Boosie, the security, and the event staff, they decided that they were not going to let any more people in, because they clearly changed the rules last second to the capacity to veer Duke 093 off course. Duke the jeweler was told to follow Boosie to the concert if he wanted to get in with the crowd. And so he did what he was supposed to do. He listened to Boosie's driver. He followed Boosie's team. He was in the car right behind him. But still, when they got to that gate, when they got to the fence and they were talking to the event staff, the security, and the valet, somebody had decided to not let Duke, the jeweler, go into the safe zone of the parking spots. They had let Boosie in. They pulled the lever so the gate could open, and Boosie and his driver entered right in through with ease. But then when Duke 093 came up, he tried to show his ID so he can get through and get to the parking spot and park right next to Boosie. But for some reason, they had a back and forth between the valet, the parking staff, and everybody dealing with the security. And it was at that point that they told Duke that he could not park in the VIP and that he has to go park at the guest parking. And so that from that point on, a lot of people are saying that Duke should have went home, but the show still must go on. He promised Boosie he was going to be there to show him the new piece he was going to make him, and they knew this. So he ended up still going to the guest parking spot to park, which was a mistake because all along that's where they wanted him to park so that they could run their play. So as the concert goes on, it's a lot of people driving past Duke's truck. They keep driving one way, turning around, and driving another way. It was many, many times where there was a lot of people trying to call Duke out to the parking garage. They were trying to get Duke to go outside. They tried to get him from backstage to go into the whole area where everybody was taking a break at, and basically literally trying to get him to get out of that safe zone and be already, this could have happened a lot earlier. Like, they tried to get Duke to come outside multiple times, but when the show was over and he thought he was moving with Boosie's team again, just like how he followed them, he thought when he followed them into the parking lot area that it was just, it was just like the rules and the communication, which caused him not to be able to park next to Boosie. But then once they were leaving, it's like the play was still about to be ran. And the fact that Duke didn't come outside until the very end. And when he finally came outside, that's when the people were already there. They were already around the corner. Duke was there in a red truck. He was in the red truck, y'all. And this was like literally some side parking lot. Anybody could have got through there. There wasn't no barriers, nobody blocking people from entering and exiting. They weren't really paying attention to who is coming in and who's coming out of the guest parking lot. And so, unfortunately, that easy access, the unsecure location, the fact somebody had decided to not let Duke, the jeweler, go into the safe zone of the parking spots. They had let Boosie in. They pulled the lever so the gate could open, and Boosie and his driver entered right in through with ease. But then when Duke 093 came up, he tried to show his ID so he can get through and get to the parking spot and park right next to Boosie. But for some reason, they had a back and forth between the